Hey everyone, I'm Chris from Champion Helmets, and today we're going to compare these two helmets, the HJC RPHA and the Shark Race R Pro. So the HJC RPHA and the Shark Race R Pro, these are going to be high-end racing focused helmets with a touch of practicality. Now they're not going to sit in the extreme high end like the AGV Pista GPR. These are going to be much more available to a lot of different people, and because of that you see them more commonly on the road and especially on the track. And a big advantage of these helmets is that they are much more available to a lot of people while still offering great comfort and security and ventilation and all that you want from a racing helmet. Now, there are 3 different versions of the Race R Pro. We've taken the base one because it's going to be much more available, and it's also going to be much more comparable to the RPHA in terms of price, specs, design, and all that kind of stuff. If we took the Race R Pro GP, it wouldn't be a fair comparison at all. That helmet is more comparable to maybe like the Shoei Spirit 3 or even the Pista GPR. So, if you want to have focused reviews upon just the individual helmet, make sure to check out our YouTube page. You can find reviews there, or you can read about these helmets and have reviews of them in the written form on our website at championhelmets.com. So be sure to check those out if you're interested. Now both these helmets are going to be in the same size, that size being medium M, and they will both cost you somewhere in the low to mid $400 US at the recommended retail price. So let's get into the shell. So when it comes down to the shell, it's going to be pretty similar between the two helmets. It's going to be mostly fiberglass. The RPHA will have a little bit of carbon fiber and aramid thrown in there as well. And with the Race R Pro, you should watch out because I see quite often that it's listed as being a carbon fiber helmet, but that's not the case. It's the Race R Pro Carbon, which is made out of carbon fiber. That's a differentiating factor there. There's very little difference between the two helmets other than that. So watch out for that. This is made out of fiberglass. And because of that, they're quite comparable. When it came to weight though, there was a couple of little inconsistencies. This is listed as 1,300 grams. We weighed it at 1,350. Sure, they shaved a little bit off on their own scales, I guess. Can't blame them too much there. But with the Race R Pro, it's listed as 1,250 grams, of course, and we weighed it at 1,400 grams. So that's more than a little bit extra. And you can see here on that little tag, 1,250 grams, but we weighed it at 1,400. So that was a surprising result overall. And when it comes down to shell sizes, this one is going to have 3 different shell sizes, and this one's going to have 2. So the edge in the shell is probably going to go towards the RPHA here. So when it comes to aerodynamics between these two helmets, it's very difficult to really choose a winner. And that's because they both feel very stable at speed. They feel quite comfortable. There's no vicious pulling or anything like that. They're obviously designed as race helmets. They both kind of look similar in their shape as well. The main difference is going to be the spoilers. So you can see here on the RPHA, pretty good spoiler, pretty standard. And on the Race R Pro, we do have this double-bladed spoiler here. And I think that does make a small difference, but the aerodynamics is simply so close between these helmets, it's almost impossible to differentiate it for me. Looking at the ventilation, and the two helmets are quite similar in a lot of regards. On the brow, they have almost the exact same brow vent. Fairly decent. Then on top, we have the 2 big scoops on each helmet. Pretty easy to use with the sliders. The Race R Pro does have a little chimney though, which is kind of cool, I guess. When it comes down to the chin though, we get a few little differences. You can see on the Race R Pro, big, easy to use, easy to open chin vent, as it's going to really pull air into the helmet. Then on the Race R Pro, we have here this much smaller vent, but these on the side are also vents, and they can be opened and closed on the inside of the helmet. So you do have better ventilation on the chin of the RPHA, but it is a little bit less easy to use when you're riding. Then coming around to the back, ventilation underneath the spoiler, and then we also have 2 always open vents on the RPHA. What is cool though with the Race R Pro, and you'll see this a little bit later on when we take the liner out, is that the EPS channels are very deep and very extreme on the Race R Pro. So that also does help with just the internal ventilation, letting air flow through the helmet. So that's a nice feature there. Overall though, I would say that both helmets are quite comparable in terms of ventilation, though maybe an edge does go to Shark, but the chin ventilation, the edge might go to the RPHA. So things have been quite similar to this point, but it's going to change because the Visor has a few downsides when it comes to the Shark, in my opinion. When it comes down to it, Shark, why do you not have pin lock preparation for the Race R Pro? It's such an oversight these days when it's so common to have pin locks, especially with more premium helmets like these, because the pin locks just work so well. But yeah, so obviously no pins on the Visor, no pin lock in the box. HJC RPHA 11. Pin locks under the tear-off pins. And you can also find a pin lock in the box. So little negative there for Shark. Another negative is going to be the how you open and close the Visor. So if you look here, that's how you do it. You've got to pull this little thing out, lift it up, push it back down, and locks in. But this is so annoying to open, especially when you've got gloves on. Good luck trying to do that when you're riding. When you get the Race R Pro GP, this has a big attachment, kind of sticks out like this, and you can just easily open and close it. Not on the Race R Pro. So there are a few little issues that I do have with the Visor of the Race R Pro overall. Let me show you how to do it on the HJC RPHA 11. Boom. Boom. Much easier, and for that reason, I prefer the Visor of the RPHA 11. Keeping with the visors, we get to the visor mechanism, and again, it's not my favorite on the Shark. So let me open it up for you, show you how it works. Move this helmet out of the way. This little pin, when it's up all the way, you can twist it around, and then at some point it's going to pop. There we go, it pops out. You can see it's like this. And then you can pull it off and then put it back on. I find that pulling the visor off the first time a little bit troubling because it takes a little bit of force, but also putting the visor back on can be so fiddly with that pin. For that reason, not a big fan of the visor mechanism on the RPHA 11. Opening it up, very easy like I just showed you, and then this little toggle thing here, just press that and it pops out. It took one finger. To put it back in as well, pretty simple. Put it in, push it on. I will concede though that the Race R Pro, it does feel stronger with this mechanism. It feels like it's not going to pop off in a crash, or at least not as easily as with the RPHA 11. It does feel a bit weaker. So there is give and take there. Personally, I think there must be a better system for a visor mechanism. Shark, please look into it. Then for the rest of the visors, it's going to be quite similar, anti-scratch and all that kind of stuff. But with HJC, if you pick up the RPHA 11, you'll get a free dark smoke visor in the box from HJC. So that's like a $60 gift there from HJC, which is quite a nice plus for this helmet. But if you go to championhelmets.com and you go to the Shark Race R Pro, you can scroll down to the product bundles, and there you will find a product bundle for a free dark smoke visor as well, which is like a $60 gift from us. So it does in the end even out. So when it comes to the liners are going to break the mold with these two helmets, and they're going to be similar. Yes, I could barely tell the difference between the two. They both feel comfortable, they're both fine to wear. They're going to be removable, washable, antibacterial, quick drying, cool. Yeah, just good liners overall. And on the inside, it's also going to be prepared for riders with glasses as well in both the helmets. The similarities just don't stop. Personally, I couldn't choose between them. It does come down a lot to what you like as a rider though, but yeah, my personal opinion is that they're both pretty good. When it comes to noise isolation though, the story is very different. It's not, they're both the same. Racing helmets, doesn't matter if they're noisy, it's not the focus. And these two, a little bit less noisy than some other racing helmets out there, but it's always going to be kind of meh. Relatively good though. When we look at the safety aspects of these helmets, we'll see that the Shark Race R Pro is the better helmet, and that's because it scored a perfect 5 out of 5 on the Sharp safety rating test, as you can see, whereas the RPHA 11 scored a 3 out of 5. It kind of failed the side impact tests, which is a little bit disappointing, and I think that comes down largely to the visor and the visor mechanism, whereas the Shark has that unintuitive system, as I called it, and I guess it does help with the strengthening though. So it does have a positive aspect, safety over versatility and user friendliness, I guess. But yeah, the Shark does win in that regard. Further, both helmets have a double D ring enclosure system. Pretty standard, what most people want from a racing helmet. But We do have an emergency quick release on the RPHA 11 for the liner, which is a nice little plus. So it should be very clear that both these helmets are quite similar, and I said that early in the video, that's why we chose the two helmets, but there are a few little differences between them. First of all, let me say that I would be happy picking up either one of these helmets because they are so similar and they both do what they do very well. I would, however, say that the Shark RPHA Pro is a little bit more specialized to the track, and that's because it has that better safety rating, better safety overall then, and it's also going to be these little issues like this and this, they don't matter when you're on the track really. So yeah, a little bit more specialized to that, a little bit better in that regard. The RPHA 11 though is going to be better for someone who wants to ride to the track, on the track, and then ride back home. It's going to be more versatile and a little bit easier to use. It's going to be then a bit better in real world settings. So those are the main differences between these two helmets. So this has been our comparison of the HJC RPHA 11 and the Shark RPHA Pro. I've said my piece, I've given my opinions, but I want to know what you guys think of these helmets, and I want to know if you have experience with them, if you've swapped one for the other or so on, like how you feel about the helmets. At the very least, I hope that you guys have learned a little bit about the two helmets and you can make better decisions when it comes to choosing between the two. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm Chris from Champion Helmets, and remember that you can always find reviews of these helmets on our YouTube page, or you can read about it on our website, championhelmets.com. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time.